Our life fades, the vision dims, all that remains are memories. I remember a time when CGI was merely a dream, a time when pulpy action movies ruled the cinema, where a movie could break box office records without a budget equivalent to Lindsay Lohan's Coke funds. But most of all, I remember Mel of the Tribe Gibson. To understand who he was, you must go back to a time before the rant tapes were released, before the crazy interviews, before the DUIs. A time when Mel was the proud son of a nation and a beloved action star, known primarily for pretending to be crazy. It was in this, a maelstrom of fantastic action movies, that the Mad Max Saga was born. A saga which spread great hordes of ticket sales and loyal fans. Gone now, swept away, for reasons long forgotten, two mighty directors, George Miller and George Ogilvy, started our production and touched off a blaze which would forever stain the Mad Max name. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Mad Max, what can you say about it? It was one of the quintessential action franchises of the 70s and 80s and was one of the catalysts for Mel Gibson's rise to stardom. The Mad Max franchise brought the western into the modern age with punk-inspired imagery, pulpy action, some of the best car chase scenes in cinematic history, and a means for guys to live out homoerotic fantasies in the comfort of an action movie. The first Mad Max movie broke records by being the movie with the highest profit-to-cost ratio until the arrival of Blair Witch. The second expanded the Mad Max universe and provided more amazing car chases, action scenes, and doubled the dark humour that had become hallmarks of the franchise. Then along comes Mad Max 3. How could I summarise my feelings towards it? Well, let's just say it's the Mad Max answer to Godfather 3, Scream 3, and Terminator 3. And Neverending Story 3. Dark Knight Rises, Ice Age 3, Shrek the 3rd, Spider-Man 3, Die Hard 3, Lethal Weapon 3, Batman and Robin. Yeah, well, you know, you get the picture. So what exactly is wrong with Mad Max 3? Well, it's difficult to say since there's so many deep-rooted problems going all the way back to its pre-production, but let's take a look and I'll try my best to explain. The most glaring problem with Mad Max 3 is just the story in general and all the problems with it. The lousy writing, uneven direction, and schizophrenic structure. The bad storytelling is evident right from the start with the crappy opening scene. Let's look at the opening scenes of the first two Mad Max movies for comparison. Mad Max 1 opens with shots of a derelict hall of justice and a voyeuristic cop. These shots, along with the energetic editing, give us a sense of depravity and chaos in the world. The camera shows Max but deprives the audience of full view, only showing items indicative of his personality. The wax indicates a well-groomed civilized man, but the leather boots and aviators a possible renegade lurking beneath. The ensuing chase sequence mixes pure kinetic energy, brilliant camera work, crazed character and his dark sense of humour, introducing the audience to the general tone of the movie. Mad Max 2 opens with a montage narrated by an unknown, unseen man, adding legendary quality to Max's character. It expands the background of the universe in which it is set by elaborating on the events that led to society's collapse, bringing new information to the audience along with a summary of Max's psychological trauma after losing his family, allowing them to become invested in the universe and its protagonist. The stock news footage adding a relatability and relativity factor to the audience at the time. The ensuing chase again has the amazing cinematography, editing, punk imagery, and pulpy action that's become a staple of the series. Again, it serves to get the audience familiarized with this world and to get them pumped up for the rest of the movie. Must also add that both these scenes are complemented by Brian May's soundtrack, influenced strongly by Bernard Herrmann. It keeps the movies from seeming overly campy and dated. Mad Max 3 opens with a crappy pop song. I really love it when movie franchises become Americanized. Just look at the Hellraiser movies. I mean, using pop songs in your movie is admission that you're okay with making them a product of their time. Right away I know I am not in the future, I am in 1985. But what about the rest of the scene? Well, Max gets his caravan stolen by some guy played by Bruce Spence, even though he's a different character to the one he played in the second movie, which is incredibly jarring. Also, establishing the universe and characters really should come before the catalyst of the plot. It just works better as a narrative structure. My main problem with the scene, however, is that it just does nothing to get me excited for the rest of the movie. There's no action, no chase sequence, just Max getting robbed. Even the way they reveal Max is dry and lifeless. It's as if they're tired of their own franchise. So Max goes to Bartertown where he makes a deal with its leader, Anti-Entity. Max will fight to the death with Blaster, who is the muscle keeping Master in charge. the guy who runs Bartertown's power supply. Max fights Blaster in the Thunderdome and finds out that he's actually just an exceptional individual, so he gets banished from the town for breaking the deal with Aunt Entity, even though Auntie neglected to tell Max that Blaster was an exceptional individual, and also killed Blaster while he was still in the ring, which should mean he murdered somebody in public view, but instead the people decide Max's fate by a wheel spin. I want you to remember the fact that Max refused to kill an exceptional individual, because that is seriously going to bite this movie in the ass later on. So Max is cast into the desert, but is found by a group of children living in isolation who you could say are lost children. And from here on in, they play a major part in the story. This is halfway through the film, and we are only now being introduced to a whole new group of characters. There are honestly just too many problems here. Firstly, that is terrible pacing. Secondly, they're the fucking Lost Boys from Peter Pan. The one time Disney should sue somebody and they don't. Thirdly, the movie now completely ignores the events in Bartertown. You know, that place we spent the first half of the movie in? For the next 25 minutes. I honestly forgot about it the first time I watched these scenes. It feels like two completely different films patched together. And would you believe that's actually what happened? See, this movie started out as an idea involving some kind of post-apocalyptic Lord of the Flies, and when debating who should discover the children, some asshole just mentioned Mad Max, and then this film was born. Now, I'm aware George Miller did return as director, but Byron Kennedy had died shortly before production. George Ogilvy was brought in as an assistant director. In fact, the only scenes George Miller had direction over were the chase sequences, which probably due to his depression over the loss of Kennedy. But you want to know what else Ogilvy directed? The Crossing and The Shirley, along with direction role over a few TV movies. You really want to give direction over Mad Max, a series known for its kinetic energy and pulpy action, to a guy who's primarily known for sappy romantic dramas? It's almost as ingenious as when Ridley Scott directed A Good Year, and we all know what a piece of shit that turned out to be.
It's because they didn't shag you at the Christmas party, isn't it?
So due to poor direction, the entire film suffers. Honestly, it doesn't even feel like a Mad Max film. It sort of feels like it's trying to emulate another commercially successful film that came out 1 year prior. See if you notice it. So after looking at the making of footage for this movie, I have come to a conclusion. George Ogilvy did not know what kind of movie he wanted to make. No, scratch that. He didn't know what he was making.
But certainly the children are the keystone of the film, because the film is about the future. It's about hope, and the hope lies in the children.
What? Okay, firstly, since when was the theme of hope being a strong presence in Mad Max movies? I mean, they're essentially post-apocalyptic westerns. A man seeks vigilante revenge and justice in a lawless society where gangs rule and bastions of society are beset by chaos. The first movie has no hope in it. It's all about hatred and revenge, filled with people getting fucking killed and raped. It ends not on a hopeful note, but with Max killing the last gang member in a cruel fashion, and closes with Max coming to the madness of the roads. The second one has Max regain some humanity when he helps save a group of besieged innocents, but again, it doesn't exactly end on a hopeful note. And again, it's filled with fucking murder and depravity. This is something that I really need to address also, is just how fucking pacifist this goddamn movie is. Let's take a kill count for comparison, shall we? Mad Max. There's the two get fucking blown up in the opening scene. Max's son and wife get mowed down in the street. There's the two guys on the bridge. There's the guy who gets shotgun, toe cutter, gets fucking crushed under a truck, and the last guy gets blown up by Max. In Mad Max 2, 3 die in the opening chase alone. Max kills a guy with a wrench. Guy gets crushed under a car. That twerp with the fur hat gets blown up. Max blasts a guy with a shotgun. Max kills another 2 punks with a shotgun. Another gets run over by the truck. Wes and Humongous get fucking crushed in an amazing collision shot. Not to mention all the settlers who were killed, along with their leader who gets a fucking harpoon in the face. How many people die in Mad Max 3? 2. Fucking 2. I'm not even kidding. And one of them dies in quicksand, so he isn't even technically killed. Blaster is really the only definite on-screen kill. And the movie treats it like it's a horrific event. The movie changes, and his death is sober and drawn out with people begging for his life. This makes me question whether George Ogilvy even saw either of the first 2 Mad Max movies. I mean, in Mad Max 2, life was cheap and people were getting iced every 2 seconds. Maybe it was due to the presence of the numerous child actors that Ogilvy wanted to tone down the violence, but a Mad Max movie with a PG-13 certificate is a disgrace. That's bad enough, but the film insults the intelligence of any fans by constantly giving the middle finger to the mortality of its characters. One of Auntie's henchmen gets into accidents several times that should fucking kill him, and he just shrugs it off. I mean, are you fucking shitting? God fucking idiots constantly they are buying this fucking bullshit, heartless studio making shit for kids, not fucking Mad Max. There's one bit where a fucking truck crashes into him face first, and he's just fine. He just has a bit of black soot on his face like it's a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon. I'm sorry. And what is the real point of this film? Let's return to the genius Ogilvy to enlighten us. You know, Ogilvy's wiki page describes him as a prolific director and actor. What fucking movie did he watch? Because none of what he seems to say is present in this movie. Remember when Max refused to kill Blaster and I said that scene comes to bite this movie in the ass? Because it proves that Max already has a fucking conscience even at the start of this movie. In fact, that was the whole point of the second movie. Max helping people survive out of generosity when at first he wanted payment. And it continues in the beginning of this film. And yet, you think he needs some sort of cause to aid so he can save his soul? Nothing in the script backs up a thing you have to say about this movie. Max doesn't even give a reason for returning to Bartertown at the end. He just says, "It's our only hope." What? Did you even proofread your script? Because earlier on, Max was pretty content to stay in the village with the kids. He only went into the desert to rescue them from the quicksand. What could he possibly have to gain by dragging children into a town filled with armed thugs to rescue a group of people he doesn't even know and that have tried to kill him? That's right, he goes in to rescue Master, the guy who threatened his life. Why? I don't fucking know! And then he meets this guy who stole his caravan out of fucking nowhere and he takes the kids to a city. How did he know how to get there? I don't fucking know! And Auntie Entity doesn't kill Max even though he's doomed her town. Why? I don't fucking know! God, why was this movie made? I mean, what's accomplished in it? We don't really learn anything new about the universe. Max undergoes no significant change or, learns any lesson. And if you're fooled by the bullshit speech at the end about hope, then I think you've been hoodwinked by self-indulgent tripe. I've heard that many of the scenes elaborating on the impact the loss of his wife and child had on Max were cut from the film. Who knows, maybe this might have made it more tolerable and given it an actual point. But the truth is, this film is just beyond saving due to its terrible structure, crappy writing, aimless direction, and just general lack of any energy. That's the word I'd describe this film. It's just so fucking limp and weak. If it wasn't for that 2 men enter, 1 man leaves line that was hammered into the audience's skull, would anybody even remember this movie? Probably not. So that was Mad Max 3. And I know Mad Max 4 is coming out, and apparently it's going to be a midquel. How do I feel about it? Well, so far I like the casting choices, and according to the pre-production footage, it should at least be visually interesting, so yeah, I'm going to keep a wary optimism for it. Who knows? Might turn out to be good. Maybe even Max will actually kill somebody for a change. What was that? Oh, jeez. No. Oh, shit, he's found me! No! No! Get away from me!
I'll put you in a fucking rose garden, you cunt.
I thought I lost you in the Thunderdome!
I deserve to be blown first!
Oh, God!
You should just fucking smile and blow me!
No, Mr. Gibson, please!
You're a pain in my ass!
Mr. Gibson, I'm not a Jew. You have no reason to hate me.
What?
Oh, God!
What? Get the fuck out!
No, please!
I'll burn the goddamn house down!
God!
But blow me first!
No!
How dare you act like such a bitch when I'm being so fucking nice!
What are you going to do with that bat?
You need a fucking bat in the side of the head.
No!